what is the end goal of all this? Like, to get rich, to make a living doing this, or?
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Another episode of our podcast and one of our success stories with our program at UNM, the Rainforest Innovations Program. We're glad that everybody could be here and join us, and we're glad to have AJ with us this morning as well. I do want to thank Cecilia, our program manager, who's in the back helping with our recording and our technical stuff. And so appreciate her being with us. But we do want to welcome AJ with us this morning. It's morning here. I don't know what time it's going to be for you when you're listening to this, possibly, but it's morning when we're recording this. And as we get started, I just want to let you know that there will be some contact information posted that you'll see when you open the video, of course, for UNM and the program here that we have under Rainforest Innovations, the Entrepreneurial Enhancement Program. And for our guest, AJ Begay, her contact information will be there as well as for myself. My name is Scott Tafoya. I own Truth Dancer Coaching, but I'm also one of the liaisons for our Tribal Entrepreneurial Enhancement Program here at UNM. And so hope you'll reach out to us as you need to. And you can find these podcasts, of course, on YouTube and on Spotify. We have quite a library that's being accumulated for these podcasts. And so we hope you'll take advantage of those recordings that are posted there for you. But we're just glad to be here. We enjoy doing these success stories. The purpose of doing these success stories is really, several reasons, I suppose. We want to, of course, provide encouragement for our Native entrepreneurs that are out there, and there are many who are out there in Indian country, as we say, doing different kinds of things, involved in different kinds of businesses. We have, of course, a lot of artists and artisans in different areas doing that kind of work, but we have multitudes of other entrepreneurs as well, and we just want to see that number grow and see our communities be blessed and benefit from the existence of multiple businesses. So we want to provide encouragement through these success stories and these podcasts. We want to provide information and maybe some training along the way to help clear the fog out of your mind. I know many times people are considering entrepreneurialism, but it's a scary proposition. They have questions in their minds. They need information about what that would look like and what they need to do in order to be successful. And so we try to provide a lot of information and training through the podcasts. And again, there's always the networking aspect where you can maybe find out somebody that's in an area of expertise that you might even need for yourself or your business. And so we're just glad to be able to provide these and for all the benefits that they might be able to provide for the listeners. And we hope that you'll help us get the word out about our podcasts. And so let me go ahead and introduce our guest this morning, AJ Begay. I met her, has it been a year already? Maybe longer,
Yeah,
AJ?
almost a year. Yeah, it's been, yeah. I was looking at a lot of my timelines this morning, and a year is coming up on a lot of things, and I freaked out, because I'm not where I want to be yet.
Right. Yeah. We look at our progress sometimes, and we know we need to get further down the road. And so that's good to be aware. Sometimes we're surprised at the progress that we've made too, though, and the successes that we've had as well. But yeah, it's been a while since we first connected and had some good conversations. But AJ is a Diné Indian from the Farmington area. What community up there in Farmington? Are you from the big city of Farmington or somebody else, someplace else?
No, I am Diné, Naakaii Dine'é, AJ Begay, yinishyé, Naakaii Dine'é, nishłĩ, Tódích'íí'nii, bashishchiin, Tódích'íí'nii, dashicheii, and paternal, dashinalí, Ákót'éego, Diné, asdzáán, nishłĩ. So, it's my first clan, I come from the Diné Nation here in New Mexico. My community that I am from is Nageezi, New Mexico, which is on 550, coming south from Farmington. So I'm from that area. My grandpa, my shik'éí was from the Blanco Canyon area. So we're right in that little area there. So that's where I grew up on the reservation, and then now I live in Farmington. So, that's
okay.
That's where we're at right now.
Okay, well, I know many times we have a lot of our native people are what we call urban Indians.
Oh yeah.
And but then a lot of us, of course, have our origins and still live in many cases in our smaller communities all across the United States. And so glad to know where AJ is from. AJ is a Army veteran, is part of what she brings from her background as well. And she's got a degree in communication design and Indigenous studies. But we have her on board this morning because she is the host of her own podcast that's named Reclaiming Culture.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a unique thing within our Native people. I haven't met a whole lot, and I've met a number of entrepreneurs over the last little over a year now, coming on about a year and a half or so. And I haven't met a whole lot who are in the broadcast arena or the podcast arena and that kind of stuff. I'm sure there are more than I've met, but we're glad to have her on board in that space. One of the unique things about her podcast, and she can correct me if things have changed since then, but she's mobile. And
I'm trying to be. The podcast right now is that's I was stationary at first, but my goal right now is mobile. I want to go to where you are, Scott, and then I want to go to the far reaches of the reservations. That's that's what I want to do. Right. Eventually get that, start traveling and getting other natives involved.
Right. And we know that's critical with our people because, again, many of them are in rural areas where maybe there's not even an internet connection that's stable and reliable. And so to be able to have someone come to them and record their story and take care of the technical aspect of things right there on site is really quite beneficial.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to have her share lots more about things here as we go along, as I ask her a few questions. Now, I do believe you also do some freelance graphic design as well.
I do.
How's that going?
That's a potential business also, Scott. So we have to connect on that too.
Right, right.
That's coming along. That's also, I think, equally as important right now as my podcasting. The podcast has been on hold right now for a little bit with all the holidays and things going on. So that'll start up again soon. But the graphic design is definitely it's definitely up there with that. I believe it's equally as important to support our Native people, and that's my goal, is to also support our Native people through design, branding, advertising, marketing.
Okay. So that opens things up a little bit more in my mind as well, then, as you're mentioning some of those other different aspects to what you're doing there.
Yeah. It's a
Good.
lot. Graphic design isn't just as I learned over the course of, studies and just, networking with my friends and other business owners is, it's not just coming up with a logo, for that person. It extends further than that. It's the face of who they are, and it reaches so many people, and people see that one design and they make, that judgment call, or they kind of see that and they go from there. So it's important, design is important with a business, and for me, for native businesses.
Right. Well, certainly, since we're so artistic in the first place, at least some of our people are, and we're all
Yeah.
artistic in different kinds of ways. I tell folks I'm not an artist, but I'm artistic in different kinds of ways.
That's right.
But yeah, so cool. Um, well, as I think about, so you've got the podcast, and you've got the graphic design kind of image kind of business going on as well. Is there anything else that you want to update us on a little bit before we dive into the interview aspect of things?
Not really. I think that really covers my two main, that's really what I'm focusing on right now is, the graphic design and the podcast, and getting those, up and running and successful as, not in the aspect of, just, I want them to be successful and I want them to help people.
Right.
So that's really, I think you've covered it, Scott. Those are
Okay.
the two
Okay.
things.
Good. So you've been doing each of these things for a little bit. I'm curious as to what sort of fired you up to go down those paths. I'm sure you could have done maybe some other kinds of things as you finished your education, or even as you went down that path. But what sort of fired you up to go down those two paths of business?
Well, before I started, the podcast, I just saw what the small businesses in our downtown area of Farmington were going through. There was a whole road reconstruction down the center. It destroyed the businesses in that little area. It was really horrible. And then the pandemic hit, just right at that time also. So that was like a double whammy
Yeah,
for all our small businesses, which includes one of them is Nageezi soaps. So I'm sure you've heard of Nageezi soaps, and
I don't know that I have.
yeah, it's a small native business. Camilla, I'm going to say her last name is Begay also. She's a young woman, very young. And she started Nageezi soaps. And, I got so fired up about these small businesses because she was one of them, including other native businesses that I saw. But hers was one specifically downtown, among others that did suffer. And so what I did is I, took it upon myself to use the platforms that I had available to me, like Facebook, for example, to use their live video. And I would go and visit each of these small businesses, and try to feature their products, what sales they were having, who the owners were, almost like a different version of a podcast. But, it was, that really, I think that's what fired me up to do that. And then I had a friend who noticed and was in the radio business with me, and he was like, let's try this podcast, let's see how it goes. And that's how it got started. And I told him, my goal is to, I saw the effects that it had, and that people were noticing how much these small little videos were having an impact on these small businesses. People were indoors, and people weren't, they were quarantined and people were, you know, unable to go out and socialize. So social media was this huge hub that people were using and were relying on in order to get information. And that is what I took advantage of. I mean, that was a huge opportunity. And that's where I started getting the word out. And I told, you know, the person who had, you know, helped me start this podcast, you know, I told him, my people are, you know, here, you know, this is where this is who I am. And I have a passion for my people, and I want to elevate them because there isn't enough of that. And, you know, our people are doing some amazing things. They've got these businesses they're starting. Some are thriving, some are just starting. And I want people to know about these and the resources that they offer for others. And, you know, in order to make them successful, I plugged in that Facebook Live that I was doing and, you know, joined it with my passion for our people and my, you know, my want to elevate. And it just, you know, it turned into this awesome podcast. You know, my little sister, she helped me come up with the name Reclaiming Culture, because, you know, that's what we're doing. We're, you know, the whole, you know, the premise of it was to, again, elevate and highlight our Native people in whatever they were doing, whether it was a small business, whether it was their art, whether, you know, they were, you know, anything, whatever they were doing.
Right.
Let's lift them up. Let's highlight what they're doing, and let's get people to notice that, you know, we're here, you know, we're here and we're doing some crazy, awesome things. And that got me so fired up, you know, so that was, that's where that originated from, is those, you know, those small videos.
Good. Well, have you been able to track the, you know, the traffic, the response, to some of that kind of activity?
Well, I did, you know, on a website that I was on, you know, it'll give you, for example, Spotify will give you, I believe it's Spotify, but there is no, it's another one. Buzzsprout will give you your stats of how many countries you've reached, you know, how many people you've reached. And those numbers I saw steadily go up. And, you know, just word of mouth within Native country, you know what I mean? Yeah. People were talking and, you know, and I was another way for them to get their business out there, or get their, you know, their artistry out there, to get their, you know, whatever it is that they were doing. You know, I began to be this line that they were able to use. And that was really special for me. And it really touched me that I was able to step in that gap and, you know, and relay that information out to everybody else.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, what about the graphic design? I wanted, because when I think of graphic design, I think purely of the art, like you were saying. Yeah. And so I'm wanting to put another name on it, but I shouldn't do that. But what about that one? What fired you up to go down that path?
Well, you know, I'm not a spring chicken, Scott. You know,
I don't see any gray hair yet, like me.
You're well hidden. You know, I started my graphic design degree way back when I got out of the military, and, you know, life happened. So I was in the middle of that. I was like 3 years into my degree, and life happened, and it just, you know, I had to put that on the back burner for a bit. Okay. But, you know, once I started getting, you know, quote unquote, getting my life together and getting things going, you know, that was like, oh, wait, you know, I have this ability, and I'm almost done with this degree. I have this ability to also use, that to also help our Native people. I saw a lack of, you know, with small businesses, and especially, you know, with our Native people, sometimes we can't afford to hire a design company, you know, to come in and say, you know, this is my logo, this is what I want on here, this is what it should look like. And sometimes they'll get, you know, their friend over there to kind of just draw something up real quick, and they'll put it on their business. And it's not quite professional. It's not quite done very well. And a logo and speaks volumes for a business, and I decided, what, let's use that, why not? Let's talk to these small nonprofit businesses. Let's talk to these organizations that are on or off the res, or in border towns, where I live in a border town in Farmington. And the history of border towns is, that also plays a huge role, because you can find a lot of artists and designers, but you can't find a lot of Native artists and designers to come and do that, who have a goal to elevate our people. And that, again, was that opportunity that I saw. And I was like, let me use this to also put toward, our Native people. That's my goal, is to help Native nonprofits, help Native small businesses to get a logo going, and to get a design element going for branding, and for them to be able to put on, their business, and say, hey, and get that attention that they need. So again, that was something that was really, I thought was really cool, that I could use,
Right. Well, I think it's time that I go ahead and hire you. I have wanted a logo for my business, and I've had something in mind for a long time, but I'm not the artist, and I've not been able to quite get that done. And so I'm serious. I think you just got another customer, because I need to get that done, and my business is at the point where I can do that. But as you're talking, I'm thinking, really what you're talking about is the need for a what's the word I'm looking for? A unique, customized, very, very personalized, in a sense, economy.
Oh yeah.
For our Native people.
Yeah.
Because, we know that they're at a different place a lot of times, not everybody, but sometimes they're at a different place economically. And if we can be creative in how we come up with our business model, and how we're making our services and products available to them, that can be a great path, a great way for us to start, elevating, like you've said, the whole, whole communities.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That would be amazing. I just have this huge vision for, our Native communities to come together, and to use each other, and to be this beautiful, well-oiled machine, to where, I can call my friends, like Nick Smith at Nick's Printing, and, call, Broderick Begay over here to do some work for me on cups, or something that he does, banners. I want us all to work together and just be successful, and that's my vision and my goal for our people. And that's where, again, that passion lies, and that love for our people, and the recognition that, man, we've all got something great to give,
Absolutely. I was just had a brief conversation as I was reaching out to some of the entrepreneurs yesterday, and I had a brief conversation with one person, and she was in a panic because her transmission had just gone out on her car. And so there's somebody in need of either mechanical, or she was also shopping for a new car.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why
there's
not have some car dealerships in our Native communities?
Yeah, exactly. Let's get a tow truck business so we can take her her car to there's so much that I envision, and and what's really frustrating about that is the process.
Right, right.
Like, I know there's a process. I know that I've got to go through these steps in order to get there. I wish I could just, just make it happen and then we're good to go, but
Right.
I understand there's a process and the patience that goes along with that, which I'm learning as a young graphic designer. The podcasting, I think, is, I've got that going, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. I feel like, that there is learning opportunity there, but graphic designing, I'm in this, the not necessarily the learning, but I'm baby steps into that business, and a young graphic designer learning how to navigate clients and pricing and how to stand up for myself and how to present, things like that. So that's, there's so much, Scott. I believe that, we can do it though, as Native people. We're here, right? After all these centuries of all of these things going on, and all of these adverse events that have happened to us, as people, we're still here. So why not? Right.
Yeah. And we've done that kind of thing in the past.
Yeah.
With our history and the trading that's gone on in our history, there have been people who have done that kind of stuff. And certainly, as I've said before, even I think on some of these podcasts, we have artists who have probably mastered being a Native entrepreneur as artists because they've been doing it for decades, and some of them are internationally known, if certainly not nationally known. And so we have the capabilities, and so we just need to continue to provide the means and the support for folks like yourself who have some skills, and I'm sort of still in this camp too. We're all still in the process of learning, but we've acquired some skills, but we need to acquire other skills that are necessary for us as business owners, and even as entrepreneurs, because even that is a slightly different aspect to it. If you're going to be in a creative space and creating something out of nothing, and then if you're going to do it in multiple areas of industries and that kind of thing, or even related industries, there's another aspect to that as well. And so, we are here to help with that and connect you with all the resources that you need, and other businesses that are out there. As I've learned over these last number of months, there are literally tons of resources out there for Native American people. And so, in a lot of ways, there's no reason for a Native entrepreneur not to tap into them. There's no reason for them to be struggling. I mean, to be, and that's not true, because we're all going to struggle, but there's no reason for them to be in a place of being stuck for long periods of time. There's no reason for their dream to be derailed. There's no reason for them to come to a place of giving up and failing, so to speak, because there are tons of resources out there, and we just need to help them to be aware of that, and help them establish an ongoing connection with the support that they need. That's one of the things I've realized as well as I've worked with these entrepreneurs, is that connection really needs to be consistent. They will benefit when they have that consistent connection in their life, not just for a few months, but for the whole journey of their life as an entrepreneur, because we go from stages of beginning through different stages of growth to where we're actually, feeding into other people and other entrepreneurs. And so there's all manner of growth and stages that they can benefit from support if they will tap into that. So we're here to help make that to be known. Well, I gather you still definitely you're loving what you do, and you're eager to be doing that, full time, so to speak.
Yes.
And would you like to speak to that aspect of your journey right now? Because I've been there.
To do it full time.
Uh-huh.
I would love to do it full time. Right now I am, I am working a job that gives me a regular paycheck, and I'm, trying to get both of these, primarily right now I'm focused on that podcast and getting it to be where it needs to be.
Uh-huh.
And trying to find those resources. These holiday months have been, really tough. Me graduating from college, finishing that up, and then, trying to get everything together, prepare, I'm ashamed to say that it's, almost gone. It's almost taken a pause right now, in order for me to get all these things together and to work with you, specifically, and trying to get these things done,
Yeah.
and that way it is successful, and I can do it full time. That is my dream, is to be able to help our people full time. That's my goal,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where that Indigenous studies, degree comes in, because then
Right.
I'm able to reach out to other, not just the Diné tribe, but to, all the rest of my, that my sister tribes, like the Apache,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got the Southern Ute up here, and the, all of these places and these people that I'm surrounded by, they really need help, and I feel like
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I can, make sure that I help them in the ways that I am able to,
Right.
because I do have I feel like I do have that spirit of helping inside me, and that I want to nurture and to, to grow. And,
Mm-hmm.
because, I have that where I want to help everybody, it's a flaw in some ways,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Can be.
I can't help everyone, but I can
Right.
try to, and using
Right.
what I have would be beautiful if I could do it full time,
Right, right. And I didn't mean to make you feel bad when I asked that question. Like I said, I've been there, and I know a lot of of our native entrepreneurs are there as well, because it is a journey, and there are challenges, and there are hurdles for us to overcome, and there are seasons as well. And so, you know, it's a reality sometimes that we face as entrepreneurs and as small business owners. Many times we have to start off part-time, and many times that journey into that full-time kind of work takes longer than we might expect, or might have thought, or might want for it to take. But there's no reason for us to again lose our dream, or to lose hope, if you will, um, because like they say, where there's a will, there's a way, and that doesn't mean working ourselves to death per se, but I think it means being intentional
Yeah.
about what we do, and what our dream is, what I like to say, what God has placed on our hearts, and what his vision is for us, and what our purpose is, and then being intentional about how we pursue that, will make the difference. Because I think when we're intentional and purposeful in that kind of way, it ensures that we're moving in the direction that we want to, and so, but that's reality, and
Oh
and
yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that, and we just need to encourage one another in the process, and again, we're not alone in that journey. Let's see, what else can I ask you? What can you share some stories, maybe some specific stories of how your business, both of these businesses so far, have benefited other people in your community, different kinds of things like that?
Well, I think the podcast has been the one right now, with just the graphic design just starting. I think the podcast is the one that right now has had most impact. Just getting my, people that I know within my community on the podcast and talking to them about their business and how, and the whole thing with my podcast too is that, I try to incorporate that cultural element in there because, before everything else, I feel that we're native, I am Dine'é before anything else. And how that has played a part and a role in each person's business, how they feel that their culture has helped them, how they grew up has helped them. Most of us that I have interviewed have grown up on the on the reservations and have come from very minimal, very small, not a whole lot that we grew up with, but, getting them that exposure and getting them, getting the word out about their business has helped them and has helped me also. It has, I know it has, because then, I've seen people say, I've got a little bit of uptick in sales, someone messaged me about, doing something for them. I got another sale for this, there's so many people that I have interviewed. It's so hard right now to actually, think about one specific one, because I know one way or another, it has helped each and every one of them, whether it was through someone watching or, someone hearing about the podcast and tuning in and then saying, oh, I didn't know they made banners. I didn't know they, I didn't know she had a consulting business for, this and that. I didn't know that, I could get my business cards printed here. I didn't know that this person made jewelry. Hey, my mom's birthday is coming up. Let me go ahead and call her because she's got beautiful jewelry. Really all of that. My friend Joey Pretty Boy, he's got a detailing business. Man, I've used his services and great. Oh my, I've never had a better detailer, and just people coming and saying, hey, what was the name of that guy that you interviewed that about the car business, and I'm like, oh wait, hold on. Let me get you in touch. So that is how that podcast has impacted, I think, my community. And I can't wait for it to start up again because, I've got a whole list of people and being mobile is going to add more. And it makes me excited, to think about it and to talk about it. Because I really, really, really do. I'm really excited and I'm hoping that the impact of that will be much greater this next time around. And I'm hoping that it'll boost these businesses in one way or another. Yeah.
Well, I know if you keep your ears open, there'll be other opportunities that'll come your way for those kind of podcasts. Real quickly, I know we're about out of time. How many podcasts have you done so far? Do you know?
Oh gosh. Off the top of my head, no, but I was in my second season.
Okay.
So there have been a lot. I was just looking at my memories this morning, and it was about a year that I did a musician. His name is QLA. He's a local hip hop and rap artist, very popular. He was coming up on a year. So I'm thinking, it's got to be at least, oh man, I don't even know. Because there's so many beautiful and wonderful people I've had on, and that just from, people like the Payochi food group, their chef, a chef and his, Justin Payochi, his mom and his sister Tia,
Yeah.
they're a wonderful business. And gosh, there's so many, Scott, I can't even think of them, everybody, and local photographers that I've done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, where can they find your podcast?
Well, right now, I was on Spotify, and also right now I'm on pause. So that also includes the Spotify right now. But as soon as I'm back up running, I'm going to let you know, and make sure that all of these past episodes, I'm hoping I can get those back on.
Oh, yeah.
And get those for people to start listening to regularly. And having those available for the businesses that I featured also, and that way they can use that podcast to be able to, to tell their customers, hey, I was on this podcast, listen. So as soon as that gets up and running again, Scott, from this crazy holiday pause, I will let you know, and I'm going to blast that out there multiple times a day, because
I'm thinking there's got to be a way for you to still keep that presence out there, even though you're not recording new episodes. And so I'd love to brainstorm with you about that, or help you in any way to do that.
But connect for sure.
Yeah. But thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us and sharing your story with us. And so we're thankful for that. And I'm thankful for UNM and our program there at UNM with the Tribal Entrepreneurship Enhancement Program that is making it possible for us to reach out and connect with more of our Native entrepreneurs. And so we hope that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hope you and everybody else will have a good day.
You also have a great one.
Okay. Thank you.